Hello, this is Thursday, September the 15th, 2022. This is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker, and let's see what's going on around today. First of all, I want to start out with the mask, as I usually try to do. Remind you again that if your positivity rate is above 5%, it'd probably be a good thing to wear this if you're going out. Especially into buildings to take care of your business and whatever running around you have to do. And that might help bring that positivity rate down. The target is 5% or less. What else can I say? In this area, air quality is moderate today. I've got used to air quality being good, but today it's moderate. And the pollen count is high for all you allergy sufferers. Starting out, some of the top articles in the news. 50 migrants relocated to Martha's Vineyard by Florida Governor Ron Santos. Now, I've been hearing about this, take immigrants there, take immigrants here, in the news, for a little while now, and I have my own feelings about it. But in this particular instance, Ron Santos took these people to the airplane. And it says Martha's Vineyard, and I'm more familiar with Maryland's Martha's Vineyard than I am other places, although now I'm starting to understand that Martha's Vineyard has several locations. So this one happened to be in Massachusetts. So they dropped them at the airport, and they wandered, quote unquote, like 3.5 miles into the nearest city. I want to say Edinburgh, but into the nearest city. And Martha's Vineyard Community Services had 50 people sort of literally standing around and walk up to their front door. And this is from Barbara Rush of St. Andrew's Church. They're believed to be from Venezuela. None of them speak English, according to Rush. And she was told through an interpreter they had come from Texas. All tested negative for COVID and were given food, water, and a place to sleep for the night. So again, like I have my feelings about it, some other state was dropping people off, busloads of people in Washington, D.C. But here's the take on this. According to some new arrangements or current arrangements, several states have offered sanctuary to migrants or immigrants, whichever the proper term is. So therefore, these states are receiving these people. But still, it was seen that if you have a busload of people or a plane load of people, and they wanted to do the city, the process of getting them sheltered and inside, even if they are doing 2 or 3 an hour or up to 5 an hour, could still possibly take all day just to record the fact that they are there. So that's one of the things that's going on. Biden, tentative railway labor deal reached, averting a strike. I just told you this week, early the past couple of days, that the railroad was planning on stopping agricultural grain shipments and things of this nature. But be that as it may, after over 20 hours of deliberation between railroad workers and union at the Department of Labor in Washington, D.C., they reached an agreement and averted a strike. And I guess the timing is good prior to the midterm election. Next thing, group headed by Mark Meadows sues Pennsylvania over ballot box. So anyway, I think this is, it says Pennsylvania, obviously. And there's been a lot of comments back and forth in regards to the 2020 election and ballot boxes and election machines, ballot machines and things of this nature. But when I thought about it, I've never seen a ballot machine. You know, I'm not going to claim great participation in prior elections, or as far as that's concerned, most elections, my vote has been, yeah, I'll vote for them, you know. But I kind of got involved, and I made a mark on a piece of paper, my selection on a piece of paper, and dropped it into a box. So I don't know where the machine part comes in at, you know, but every once in a while you hear all these references. And Mark Meadows was involved with Donald Trump with all the hoopla that came forth from the voting for Trump and current President Biden. So there you have that. All you movie fans are probably familiar with the movie Purge, or Purge Anarchy, or that little series, 2 or 3 movies, whichever one it was. So now, Hollywood's term has come to pass in reality. U.S. state becomes first to pass purge laws. Actually, it's called this Safety Act, standing for safety, accountability, fairness, and equity today, will come into play in the Midwestern state of Illinois from 1 January 2023. The new law is aimed at reforming Illinois' cash bail system by removing cash bail from almost all crimes in the state. See, I'm so used to hearing, well, you know, did they post bond, or can you post bond, or can you get them out, and this and that and the other. But second-degree murder and all those crimes down, they're not even going to be asking or putting cash bond into the system as far as those criminal cases are concerned. So it might hit your ear one way, but it's actually, excuse me, a different way as far as processing crimes are concerned. Not that the crime would be any less severe, but there would be no cash bond for it required. In some sort of fashion, in some sort of way and fashion, it seems that would kind of free up the justice system somewhat. So we'll see how it goes in Illinois come 1 January 2023. Shortly after I got off the air yesterday, run right back into LA again, because the Los Angeles Times had an article featuring some comments from Ice-T. If you're not familiar with his music, he's one of the stars of Law and Order, talking about rappers and jewelry and people getting shot in LA. Then I turned right back around and published in Ace Showbiz are comments from Boozy Badass and Ice-T again. Share a warning for LA Raptors after PNB Rock's tragic death. So Boozy is a little bit more explorative about his comments, so I'll just give you a short comment. Be ready to shoot at all times. Ice-T says it's the Wild Wild West. So it does have some merit. In Ice-T's LA article, he was saying, you notice most of the older rappers, he's got the naming people like Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube and himself and Dre and several other people, The Game, that they're not walking around LA dripping in jewelry because they know people will try to take it. Ice-T had a song out, Body Bag or something, or Capital, Body Bag, Capital, or something of that nature a few years back. And that all had, you know, some pertinence to what is going on. And probably as a listening audience, you're familiar with some famous people that have been shot and killed in LA. But in the process of seeing all of this and just perusing the information affiliated with it, associated with it, the count probably starts about 1987 as far as people in the music industry being shot and or killed in LA. So that's quite a horrific legacy. And Lil Boosie was referencing most recently Kodak Blacks being robbed in February at Justin Bieber's after party. So it kind of lands one toward caution in LA, number one. And although it's not talking about the music industry, this is specifically talking about the music industry in reference to young rappers. So, a word to the wise. Say, change is going to come. Anyway, tying that up, again, Cardi B says that it's not right, quote unquote, to blame Stephanie. I can't even say her last name, but I presume that she is Asian of some sort, for what happened because posting on Instagram, her PNB Rock's fiance or baby's mama's information is not out there to the public like that. And I would agree to that degree in the sense that if you're going to post something, it's usually for your family and for your friends. It's not really accessible to the general public, what's going on. But it was just a few minutes prior to PNB Rock's robbery and being shot fatally. So, condolences to the family and to the friends. And hopefully, they'll see a downturn in that type of attitude and activity in LA. End of the summer, a few more days, 22nd of September. Got to thinking about it, things I didn't get to do. Kind of took me back to, not necessarily home area, but an area that I'm fond of. And that's Maryland. And in particular, DC, Southwest. A lot of seafood in Southwest. So I got to thinking about blue crabs and soft shell crabs and all of that kind of stuff. And I remember the first time I had some, I said, well, they are blue, but what is the soft shell part? So I started. There was no crab left. No blue shell crab left. Ate it all, enjoyed it all. Had an opportunity to get some more, I would. But that springs off into the Chesapeake Bay area in general and at large, as it touches the shores of Virginia, Maryland, right there, like I say, at the seafood wharf, where you can get everything from snapper to tilapia, depending on what your tastes are. Sometimes Alaskan king crab, although that's mostly just legs. And it just took me into the whole thing about seafood. Catfish, whiting from the fish store on the corner, however you might like it. Catfish nuggets, catfish period. Then that took me into canned goods, that famous little sardine thing, along with oysters, scallions, seafood, blues, talking about the bigger fish, and if you ever caught any that you was going to eat, game fish. So anyway, people talk about crabs and give me a bucket of crabs, and you go to a seafood restaurant and they give you the bag with the little corn and everything else in it to go with the crab and so forth and so on, the lobster and all the other stuff. It's just a seafood fest. Summer's almost over. Just a few more days, a few more opportunities. If you've ever had crab or even like crab, jump on that. Maryland, Chesapeake Bay. Which, speaking of Maryland, you got the Maryland part that's around DC. Then you jump on the other side of DC and you got Baltimore. Then you jump up a little further and Maryland touches Pennsylvania? No. Got Ohio in between there, right? Anyway, just a little bit down Seafood Lane. I'd ask you another day, how tall do you think Kevin Hart is? And again, just so happens, I see an article that's coming from 2014 and being refreshed where Kevin Hart is messing with Shaquille O'Neal. So, Kevin is given to some practical jokes from time to time. And it just so happens that because of the type of joke it is, then it lists Kevin's height and also his weight and Shaquille's height and weight. So the process of the practical joke was for Kevin to spring out and smack Shaquille O'Neal on the head with a, basketball shoe. So Kevin, at 5 feet 2 inches, 141 pounds, decides to secure himself behind the door so that when Shaquille O'Neal, 7'1" at 325 pounds, walks in, he can smack him with the shoe on the head. Now, I recently saw Shaquille O'Neal around with somebody that had a growth deficiency, and he was on the boat, and all of a sudden the guy hit him with the right hand. But as I read it, he was an older person. It was promotional. They had, been doing certain things around for a little while. But back to Kevin. So I'm thinking right away, how are you going to even reach his head? But as it works out, Kevin did accomplish it. And in trying to get away, he was like classically fumbling at the door, but he made it out. So there you have it. Kevin Hart, 5'2", 141 pounds at the time in 2014 versus Shaquille O'Neal, 7'1" at 325. Thursday, September 15th, 2022. This is Sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. That's it. Hashtag.